Welcome, visitor, to the Pioneer's Pathway. Tourists and visitors are being encouraged to retrace the pathway of the early pioneers between Pugh and Merredin, country towns located northeast of Perth, Western Australia. The route lies to the flat, fertile fields of the wheat-growing farms of the central wheat belt. Along the route lies numerous interesting historic tourist attractions, which we will explore in this short movie. The starting point for the trip was Merredin, Western Australia, where I spent a night in the local caravan park. Merredin's not a large town, about 3,000 people, well spread out over the flat, fertile land. Merredin serves as a service point for the local wheat growing and sheep raising agricultural industry. Merredin first developed with the arrival of the railway in the mid-1890s because the Merredin Peak, a large granite outcrop that permitted the accumulation of fresh water for the locomotives. Our first stop after leaving Merredin was the town of Nungarin, only a short drive away. It's located about 280 kilometers northeast of Perth. The town's agricultural base has expanded recently to include pig and cattle raising, as well as gypsum mining. It's got a population of a little over 300 people. It seems to be smaller than the average small wheatbelt town, characterized by a single street with bulk loading facilities and a railway siding on one side of the road, a pub and a few shops on the other side. The Nungarin Hotel was built in 1929 by the Kalgoorlie Brewery Company and cost £24,000. The town seems to be innovative and vibrant with a great community spirit and lots of schoolwork up on display. An expedition in 1865 led to Nungarin Rock appearing on a map. Charles Adams, the first settler, took up a large grazing lease in Nungarin in 1872. Be sure to drop into the Nungarin Heritage Machinery and Army Museum. Substantial construction occurred in Nungarin during the Second World War, with 12,000 troops stationed in the town. The Display Museum is a huge building, 2,500 square meters, totally constructed of timber, making it the largest timber building in the Southern Hemisphere. Nungarin was Australia's principal line of defense if the Japanese invaded during the Second World War. Charles Adams frequently wrote to the West Australian. Here he wanted a governess for his 4 children. By 1874, Charles Adams ran a substantial flock of sheep on a large grazing lease at Nungarin. He applied for a license to establish the Pioneer Inn and provided provisions and accommodation for miners headed to the goldfields during the 1880s and 90s. The home, hand-constructed and now a heritage site, is regarded as one of the finest examples of early wheat belt architecture, a beautifully preserved homestead which captures the hardships of life in the early 1870s and 80s. By the end of the first decade of the 20th century, a new wave of settlers arrived in Nungarin. This was made possible by construction of a railway. The large leases were subdivided into wheat farms and timber was cleared from the land. The railway reached Nungarin on 28th of August 1911 as part of the government's commitment to opening up the wheat belt. At that time, a general store and boarding house was built, and the town was launched. A.C. Macquarie took over the leases that were once held by Charles Adams. He was forced to release them in 1909 and applied for a hotel license, which was granted, opening the first hotel in 1912, Macquarie's Old Hotel. Macquarie leased 300,000 acres in Nungarin and constructed over 100 miles of fencing, sank 10 wells, constructed 8 dams, and built stables and sheds. Even today, life remains hard in Nungarin. An article about a siege and a shooting and the frequent drought that plagues wheat farmers. Trayning, 60 kilometers from Merredin and the first stop in the Discovery Pathway. It's an area of granite outcrops, birds, insects, reptiles, woodlands, and lots of wildflowers, surrounded by wheat fields stretching into the distance. In 1879, the Trayning Well was commissioned by an early settler, Charles Adams. In 1888, gold was discovered in the Yilgarn near Southern Cross, and a large number of prospectors trekked along the route from Newcastle or Tujay to the goldfields, moving from one homestead and well to the next. Wells and finding water was of crucial importance in this arid land. By 1889, inns had been established in Goomalling, Nungarin, and Dowerin. In 1892, with the Coolgardie gold rush, the focus turned to rail transport. Aerial views of Trayning show the numerous large wheat bins that service the local wheat farms. A narrow gauge railway reached Trayning in the first decade of the 20th century, leading to its rapid growth. Wheat farming and sheep raising remain central to the town today. Public school art reflects the main themes of the town, with pictures of wheat. The post office and St. Joseph's Catholic Church. A local bank building. A shortage of doctors remains a problem in country towns. It's a bit frightening reading about the origin of the word training, snake crawling in the grass near campfire. 1926, a murder in Trayning, and today population decreases towards the coastal areas from country towns. Drought, wheat rust, locusts, and frosts all create havoc with wheat crops, leading to hardship. 18 kilometers north of Trayning are Gannas, rock pools formed in the granite that collect water. Whiteman's Rock is a massive finger-like projection of white quartz northeast of Trayning. Google shows the frequency of articles on Trayning in the last century.